Back by popular demand, Bajan Rhythm and Rhyme, powered by BIM Got Talent and presented by Sluggy Dan every Saturday on VOB 92.9 FM from 6:30 PM to 7:30 PM. Don't miss it. Bajan Rhythm and Rhyme, powered by
Premium Kennels and Security Services. Our range of services include security guard services, canine patrol, canine breeding, cash in transit, private investigation, bodyguard services, mobile response unit, event security, and all your electronic security needs. Call our WhatsApp 851-1101.
Back by popular demand, Bajan Rhythm and Rhyme, powered by BIM Got Talent and presented by Sluggy Dan every Saturday on VOB 92.9 FM from 6:30 PM to 7:30 PM. Don't miss it. Bajan Rhythm and Rhyme, powered by
Premium Kennels and Security Services. Our range of services include security guard services, canine patrol, canine breeding, cash in transit, private investigation, bodyguard services, mobile response unit, event security, and all your electronic security needs. Call our WhatsApp 851-1101.
back by popular demand. Bajan Rhythm and Rhyme, powered by BIM Got Talent and presented by Sluggy Dan every Saturday on VOB 92.9 FM from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Don't miss it. Bajan Rhythm and Rhyme, powered by
Premium Kennels and Security Services. Our range of services include security guard services, canine patrol, canine breeding, cash in transit, private investigation, bodyguard services, mobile response unit, event security, and all your electronic security needs. Call our WhatsApp 851-1101.
Back by popular demand. Bajan Rhythm and Rhyme, powered by BIM Got Talent and presented by Sluggy Dan every Saturday on VOB 92.9 FM from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Don't miss it. Bajan Rhythm and Rhyme, powered by
Premium Kennels and Security Services. Our range of services include security guard services, canine patrol, canine breeding, cash in transit, private investigation, bodyguard services, mobile response unit, event security, and all your electronic security needs. Call our WhatsApp 851-1101.
Back by popular demand. Bajan Rhythm and Rhyme, powered by BIM Got Talent and presented by Sluggy Dan every Saturday on VOB 92.9 FM from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Don't miss it. Bajan Rhythm and Rhyme, powered by
Premium kennels and security services. Our range of services include security guard services, canine patrol, canine breeding, cash in transit, private investigation, bodyguard services, mobile response unit, event security, and all your electronic security needs. Call our WhatsApp 851-1101.
Welcome to our Homegrown Roundtable discussion this evening. So great to have all of you with us, those of you watching us live from Facebook, those of you watching us from YouTube. Welcome to Rebashing It, the making of a musical genre and the evolution of music. Now this discussion tonight is going to be interesting, it's going to be enlightening, it's going to be absolutely electric because we have a wonderful panel this evening. We have a band, we actually have a live band, so you're going to see something this evening that you've never seen before in Barbados, this type of discussion. Now over the last couple of weeks, the airwaves have blown up with lots of discussion, social media, my social media pages have been lit with lots of discussion on bashment and whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's something palatable for our nation, whether it's something we want to expose our children to. Now this evening we're going to be having a rich discussion on this topic and I'm going to introduce my panel to you. We have right next to me Kevin Sluggydan Watson, he's on my left, vocalist, entrepreneur, director of BIM's Got Talent, and one of our very own cropover ambassadors for the NCF. To my further left, we have Fabian Sargent, well-known social worker, men's advocate, founder and president of Men's Empowerment Network Support. Welcome Fabian, welcome Sluggy Dan. We have on my immediate right, Randy Eastmond, I think one of the brainchilds behind this, because I think it was Randy and Fabian who got this whole idea going. Randy is a well-known music producer in Barbados, an educator par excellence, if I do say so myself, one of my colleagues, and an event coordinator, wow. Very well known, very well talented Randy Eastmond. And we have as well, to my further right, Dr. Stefan Walcott, I'm sure equally very well known. He's a composer and a youngish academic who loves the Caribbean. He's a part-time lecturer at both the Barbados Community College and the University of the West Indies, Cape Hill. Welcome, Dr. Walcott. And we have joining us remotely, the very well-known as well. We have lots of well-known people on this panel this evening. Barry Wilkinson, sports broadcaster, veteran, I would say, media manager, and personality, aspiring attorney at law, and he will be joining the discussion remotely this evening. And I am your host, I'm Dr. Denise J. Charles, a cultural practitioner, author and educator as well, and I'm very, very interested in this discussion this evening. I'll be throwing in my 2 cents worth as well. But just to set the context for our discussion this evening, what exactly is bashment? Now, there's a lot that has been said about bashment. Bashment soca is described as a strain of soca which is indigenous to Barbados, but which draws influence from Jamaica's dance hall. Its roots go back, way back, but it has been made popular in recent years in Barbados. Its initial social and cultural associations, like Jamaica's dance hall, has largely been pretty negative, unfavorable. Traditionally, people have not separated the music style and the lyrics in bashment soca. Bashment is seen as rude and crude, and the music is seen as one that encourages rude and crude behavior or even deviant behaviors. And we all know, when we think back of music and how music evolves and changes, that even years and years and years ago, when I was a little girl, we had the whole issue of banjo music in church not being seen as something that was kosher or something that should be accepted. But then as years went by, we embraced Joseph Nels, we embraced Promise. So things change. Why is it any different with bashment? So we're going to be plunging into this discussion this evening, but I'm just going to throw out some questions that will not be answered now, but will create a kind of context for what we're going to be talking about. What exactly makes up a musical genre? Can genres evolve, and what contributes to their evolution? Can the lyrics and the mood of music be separated? Is bashment both the lyrics and the music? Can we separate the social origins of music from the beat or the rhythm? Has this not been done in other genres like the same dance hall and rap? Are these musical styles not used by a range of artists, even gospel artists, and by conscious lyricists? Does the social and cultural association of a particular genre of music dominate how it can be interpreted and used in the future? Now, these and other questions are going to form the fodder for our discussion this evening. So I'm going to start by inviting these panelists to give me just a 2-minute synopsis of bashment and the evolution of music as they see it. We're going to start with Fabian.
What a place to start. because I'm probably one of the least musically inclined persons on the panel, you know. My concept when I hear bashment, and I can speak to my interpretation initially of bashment, I hear a rhythm that impacts the body in such a way that it wants you to move, And a lot of the movement that you get that's associated with the rhythm is real sexual. A lot of negativity is associated with it, generally. And then when we even look at the lyrics that follows that beat or rhythm, as you guys call it, a lot of the lyrics in many instances are extremely rude. There is content that I would not want for children. And I think that that is where the challenge really comes generally in recent times, when there was the thought, or there is the involvement of children into this whole concept of bashment music. So we're thinking, okay, you have this music that people just walk up and get on bad and do bad, and you hear a lot of sexual lyrics. How is it that we got big professionals want to get little children involved in this type of activity? And I think that is what evoked a lot of the attention and a lot of the concern in the public. And I would say that I am guilty of that too, because I too was concerned initially when I heard of it. You know, and that is where the conversation between me and Randy happened. And then which led to this. Yes, maybe before the conversation between me and Randy, that me a sluggy. So I call Randy first.
I want to do something for me. Can you repeat the question?
I just want a synopsis, 2 minutes. What in your opinion is bashment, and how do you feel about it, and how do you feel about the evolution of music?
So how you feel about it?
But that's what he said. How you feel about it?
Sluggy, you ready?
Not yet.
Not yet.
All right, Randy.
All right. For me, bashment is a modern permutation of the calypso genre. We all know that the calypso genre has many subgenres. It would have started with Bajan dub initially, and it has evolved over time in terms of the style, the lyrical content, the rhythm. I made a post on Facebook the other day, and I said genres are fundamentally defined by rhythm. And we all know that genres also have other elements and components which comprise them: harmonic structure, lyrical content, melodic structure as well. But the bashment soca has particular qualities. The Bajan dialect on top of what we call a drum and bass type rhythm. And over the years, we've seen, as Fabian said, some lyrics which cause persons to gyrate in a particular manner. However, I do believe the bashment rhythm, in the clinical sense, can be used for social commentary, right? And when I say that, I mean a lyrical content as a social commentary, where you can speak to issues in society. Because if you look at the history of Bajan dub or dancehall, it speaks to things happening in the society, bringing things to the fore. So anything that deals with a social issue can be a social commentary. And I think we need to separate the issue of the informal culture and then the formal definition and clinical definition of what bashment soca is as a genre. So what Fabian spoke to in terms of those negative connotations is really the informal culture of bashment, but we're going to speak specifically throughout the discussion to bashment soca as a genre. So those would be my introductory remarks.
I like that, and we're going to come back to that because we want to tackle whether or not they can be separated. Yeah. All right, Dr. Walcott.
Right, so I wrote about this a couple years ago. The bashment soca, what people are calling bashment soca now, was not what was called bashment soca back in the early 2000s when Jabe and Melly, David were playing the scene.
Correct.
That was a fast soca, completely removed from what we know as bashment. When the competition had to be started by Yellow, I believe it's they that rebranded the music that was originally Bajan dub as bashment soca, right? Okay. So now we have now everybody confusing what was bashment soca before, what was Bajan dub, and putting it all together in one pile and mixing it together, right? Everywhere not have this amnesia and recognize that before the Bajan dub, what Lorette was doing, what Peter was doing in the 1990s is what we call bashment soca today.
Correct.
And originally when that started, that stuff was all social commentary because the guy who recorded the music, Shane Badu, said, you know what, I do not want any slackness. He said this in an interview. He doesn't want any slackness or these artists he's recording in his Sound Good studio. So he said he wanted to differentiate himself from the Jamaican dancehall. So that's why Lorette had the conscious song, We Don't Know, with the Youths, that was recorded by him. Quicksand, all of these songs which were social commentary in the traditional Calypsonian way, singing about economic, social issues from a working class perspective, right? That's what they were doing in the 90s. that is the bedrock of the bashment soca, what we call bashment soca, the original Bajan dub that was based on social commentary. So when we get now attempts to get young people singing it, to me is a return to the roots, is a return to the authentic original Bajan dub, which Lil Rick and people like Peter Ram to some extent were putting out back in the day. And those are big, big songs, ABC, by Lil Rick, etc. All of these songs now with that element of metaphor, humor, plus speaking about working class situations.
Okay, Sluggy, we haven't forgotten you.
Yes, please. For me, culture, I understand Fabian's plight because culture does define music mainly. I used to think, and from studying and so on, was even taught by the great Dr. Stefan Walker. I used to believe that, you know, musical elements would make up a genre, but I don't believe that any longer because I hear Jack Ure sing R&B songs, and the boy would never call it R&B. Bob Marley sing songs like No More No Cry or Redemption Song. People just call Redemption Song a reggae song. And there's no way on earth Redemption Song could ever be a reggae song, but people call it reggae. Why?
Because it's not.
It's because it's Bob Marley and that the culture attached to it. So within the culture, there's always got the good and the bad. Like Lieutenant Stitchy and Cartel sing the same music.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because gospel music is not a genre. The genre be dub, soca, clips, or whatever. So Stitchy and Cartel both sing the same genre. But of course, the content is the same.
Different.
The culture is the same still. Because you got certain roots associated with it. So when you go to a gospel concert that got dancehall, you can see people partying the same way people can party to a Cartel concert. So certain elements can be still the same way, but the negative connotation and the content can be much different. So that way do understand Fabian's flight. So I guess the answer to a person like him, Quams, would be, let me do it the right way now. You know what I mean? Let me do it the right way.
Even when you talk about the cross-pollination of genres, if you look at the same Cartel and his song Ramping Shot, I think that was a sample of Neo's Neo song. So.
Now, what y'all are all saying is extremely interesting. And I want to piggyback on something that Dr. Walker said just now, because at the end of the day, while you all have your official definitions or even your personal perspectives, the issue is that as this has been out there bandied about in the public domain, many people, I'm not saying all, because you had people calling who are also very supportive of it being in the competition, etc. The issue is that as people see it and as they interpret it, they're not thinking about the roots, they're not thinking about the history, they may not even know. Right? They may not even understand this whole thing, that this has been around and we are now trying to get back to the original and all that. They're just thinking that the bashment that they hear, that they see being performed, the culture as they see it, but they're linking the two. So we have to educate the public so that they can separate, because people are getting furious because they're thinking of the culture, they're thinking about the walking up and the, you know, the jucking down and all of that there, and the cocking up of the feet and all of that. That's what they're thinking about, and they're thinking, hey, how can you possibly expose children to this? So,
I want to say, you know, I can never see the NCF allowing a child to go on stage and gyrate in that manner. I've had the privilege of working there and doing events for the NCF. I can never see that happening. And based on my understanding thus far of how it's structured, it is the same junior monarch competition, and the NCF has allowed the children and the writers to write within 3 genres
they
to
can
express
choose.
themselves.
That's
they choose to write either in the traditional calypso genre, the soca genre, or bashment soca.
That's right.
So you will have
a
a social commentary approach using the different subgenres of the calypso. So that is my understanding. The others on the panel who may have greater can.
You see, there's so much negativity that permeates the entire society. We have challenges in families, with young people, mothers, fathers, and the list goes on and on. And I guess I need to highlight gun violence as well. And that is a big one, you know. Only tonight I was there listening to a song, and I even draw it to Randy's attention before the discussion. And it started with gun click. No, I told you, it started with the click of a gun or something like that. And then Randy explained to me.
It's somebody's name.
That is somebody's name, you know. And people in society generally will be a bit uneasy. Now, the musicians will see it through a different lens, because you're looking at, as Randy put it, the clinical side of it. You're looking at the musicality of it. From the social end, we are looking at the social impacts and what we are seeing, because a lot of the negativity, a lot of the negative music that is put out there is what people are hearing, that's what they're seeing, and that is what bashment is associated with. You know, I get what Stefan said, you know, in relation to the evolution and where it came from, and even Randy in terms of the informal versus formal. But as Danny said, the average man on the road will see what Lady Essence is singing. And it will be very specific. You'll be seeing what sometimes Steffi is singing. And the list goes on. And sometimes when we look at some of the lyrics, they're adult. There's adult content. There's adult content. Okay. So people are seeing that adult content and associating children with that content.
Okay, we had a comment just now from someone online, and this is Jan Phillips, and this is very much linked to where it was going, because I'm wondering, can we really separate the lyrics from the mood that the music creates? Because Jan is suggesting that when she hears bashment, she wants to walk up and get on stage. That's what she wants to do.
Right.
Exactly.
When she hears it, it creates that in her. Is that just a personal thing to her? Is it something that we can agree to be different on? Or is it that the music was created for that particular mood, and to think of doing something different with it is crazy?
I want to enter here. I think I give my team a chance to pull up the video, the excerpt, because that's an interesting point. So the rhythm definitely will want to make you move. But at the end of the day, are you going to walk up and fall on the ground to someone saying, put your hand in the air for the Lord? Or I don't want to see negativity in the society, right? At some point, you're going to recognize that this person is singing a lyric. I didn't want to bring an excerpt on screen at this point. I think this is probably an appropriate time.
Exactly, and we're going to go to that. And I just want to stick in here very quickly something that's like you said, because I've been to many concerts. I've seen Stitchy, I've seen DJ Nicholas perform live, and I've seen lots of Christians, hands in the air, dancing and stuff, but you never seen anybody put your back and gyrating for nobody. Never saw it from any of the lyrics, even though the rhythm was the same.
So the backstory to this video, this is Young Dynamo, Bashment Soca competition in 2019. His dad came to me and said, my son has a Bashment song, you know, I really would like to get some exposure. I was fortunate to be able to speak to one of the promoters.
Junior Soca competition?
No, International Bashment Soca competition.
Guest appearing?
Guest appearing, right? And he opened the show with a very positive Bashment song and got tremendous response. So we're going to pan over to Dynamo at the 2019 International Bashment Soca competition. And let's take a listen and a view of that, and we see what opinions come from this performance.
After we see this.
After we see this. Over to you, Ashley.
But my mother to buy some big sheets. So we start shopping and wine walking. A shorty come and attack me. The girl knows me what that she holler. Sweet boy, I can't get your number. Cause you just not with me. But my idea and I want it to be together. Upon listen to what I tell you. I don't count on me if you did me. I don't count on me just ain't petty. I like if you is a rap bossy. And if you like that, you know. I cause words just come out, you move. Not me, I do me anything. You so hear what I tell you. I want the rah-rah girl, the rah-rah girl, the rah-rah girl. I want the rah-rah girl, the rah-rah girl, the rah-rah girl. I want the rah-rah girl, the rah-rah girl, the rah-rah girl. I want the rah-rah.
But that's Dynamo, performance of very positive lyrics. He's speaking to the type of girl that he does not want to associate himself with. Are you going to fall down on the ground and roll and do I don't want to speak in the vernacular or whatever, you know, at this time, but are you going to do those negative gyrations to the lyrics that he's singing? To the rhythm may make you move, is going to catch your interest because it's an interesting rhythm.
Yes.
Right. But you're going to listen to what he has to say.
Rhythm.
Huh?
It's a jump down rhythm.
But are you going to do it?
So all the rah-rah girl, rah, that's a jump down rhythm.
But are you going to jump down to the lyrics that he's singing?
Highly unlikely.
People would jump down to that song.
Hearing the rhythm intro,
yes. It's a jump down rhythm is subjective, because you jump down usually to the instructions of the song. You jump down to the flavor of the song. And even though the rhythm does drive the movement and your desire to move, at the end of the day, it is also fed by the words, and it is unlikely that you would jump down.
You will continue to.
You know, and even if somebody did jump down to it, does that mean the song is bad?
Yeah, he's singing positive lyrics.
Exactly.
The rhythm, the intro rhythm may cause you to initially this rhythm.
Yeah.
You know, then you hear this. I want to rap. So, okay, this man singing something different. You gotta cause yourself listen. I don't know if Dr. Walker has anything to play on that.
I mean, when this all kicked off, right, I wasn't on island. I was surprised that I was kicking off, really, because I was overseas, and all of a sudden my phone kept buzzing. people, nation, all kinds of people calling me. Because we did this, when I say we, I facilitated the Black Manangola Calypso competition in 2020. We started to introduce this category. We call it bashment. We had participants. We had 3 guys, and they went down killing in the school. No one was joking down. No one was had these moral issues associated with it. The school children were going off the chain. My mom broke down the place, right? And it was no issue. So when 2022 now, the NCF doing the same thing we did at Black Manangola, I was like, okay, that's cool. So then I don't know what the controversy was because there was none at the time. We advertised it as Bashment Soca in the competition. They had judges, they had their own everything, and it went without issue, without any sort of problems, right? So I was wondering what the major thing was. And what was really good about it was that he was so comfortable, right? The youngster who won and who won that segment was so comfortable and communicated, and the children his age understood and related to him on a level that the people singing Calypso did not have. Because he brought that authentic Bajan accent, he was being himself, right? And that's where you get a lot from the Bashment Soca artists. People who come and sing the Calypsos, and some Calypsos in Junior Monarchs have some real adult themes too, you know. Some of them sing about rape, some of them sing about AIDS, some of them sing about I get molested as a 5-year-old.
That's right.
When these adults now putting their words in children's mouths, right? And far more adult themes than my man who's saying about he want to be a prime minister in that Bashment Soca competition in Black Manangola in 2020, right?
So Graham just posted something where he asked, how do we prevent the culture from leaking, right? And simple rules.
Yeah, but he's talking more about the audience.
That's informal, right?
That's informal.
But I'm saying.
What do you mean with that? What do you mean with that?
How do we stop the audience from behaving in a particular way?
The informal culture. How does the informal culture not permeate through by hearing the rhythm?
I think we cannot.
To the audience, or you mean children?
He said, let me, if I can get.
I think you mean leaking to the children.
Okay, let me read the actual comment. So Graham, I'm going to read your comment for the public. I was just coming to say what Jan said. How do we prevent the culture from leaking in as far as the reaction of the audience, children or adults, to the songs that the junior singers will be singing in that genre? People will behave the way they are accustomed to with the music. Will there be policing of audience behavior at these events? Also, if the negative behavior does occur, would this be something that the children expect as the reaction because they are part of the culture? I think it's a very pertinent question.
Well,
question that we should ask as adults as well because they're concerned.
Yeah, but
why are we not asking that question about other genres of music?
Right.
People don't only do that. People do things to soca music as well, not just bashment soca.
And here's my point too. Like you will never see that an NCF event, like the event, even hold a competition. It don't be for that. Even when you go, like I can tell me something right. And I can tell people don't go nowhere. Even when you go to Bashment Soca finals, right, ma'am? Right, dog? Here we're telling you. When you go to Bashment Soca finals, they being real.
Yeah.
Even more that singing slot song. People don't walk up just so want to know the competition. Everybody be frightened and tense. Be ask David, ask Randy, we go to all. Like, you don't see the boy at a competition. Joking down, nothing. Like, famous go to competitions, bro. Like, that don't happen at competition. Even Bashment Soca finals, Rick, the bashiest, Steffi. When Steffi sing, one about 3 times, the boy don't jump down in a competition. In a fact, no.
It's different.
You hear Bashment different.
It's a different thing.
You're in the competition, everybody be standing up watching solar.
That's true.
You want to, you know, that ain't having a competition. And then a children's competition, you will never see that at NCF event.
It will never happen.
Because children is always saying walk-up songs in Junior Monarch all the time.
But I was going to say that I don't want us to
from Marsville, even from Marsville, time in Junior Monarch.
I don't want us to be culturally blind. I have been to many events with children, and I have seen children behave in what we would call adult inappropriate ways to all types of music. And I am a bit concerned that we are so quick to bastardize things that we own, things that are black, things that are African, you know, because we are, you know, it's as if we will only embrace and accept things that are Eurocentric. And I know that's a difficult conversation and people don't want to go there, but we have to go there.
No, but that is like, we can't deny that way is. Like, if Bashment Soca was music that more European, more palatable, you know what I mean, most sweeter to the ears, pleasing to the ears. It won't be a discussion. It is African, is us, is street oratory. So it's obvious we can't hold on to that. It feel too black. It feel too much like us.
I somewhat disagree because I think maybe I looking through a real different lens, you know, because I am thinking that everything that I know, understand me, I am no musician, so I ain't sitting and study the music. Everything that I have ever associated with bashment in my mind, the perception, when I hear somebody bash, that person is a bashment person, I'm thinking that person type of roadie, or when I hear of a bashment, somebody dress bashment, when I hear that I'm going to a bashment down the road, when you hear, and this being real, this being candid, when people hear about bashment, the first thing that comes to mind is negative. And often, I mean, yes, I do agree that we can paint it with a positive vibe. But unfortunately, the dynamics of human behavior, right? We tend to allow negativity to take over everything. If I stand up and do an exercise, and then I ask the room to explain to me what I just did, most of the time people just start acting negative because that is what usually, I don't know if it's maybe probably our human behavior, how we are,
I
right?
understand what you're saying.
So it is not, so I understand, and what you're saying in terms of the whole cultural, not the historical component to it, that may have some merit as well. But I'm thinking now that to the average man, people are thinking that
But we have to help them to think
I agree that education is important to help us go back there.
And we also have to look at the evolution of language, and how language shifts and changes. Because you said that when you hear bashment, you always think of something derogatory.
Yeah.
Not me.
I, as a teacher, was told that I was enough bashment. And I have never had anything negative said about me. When I used to teach, ma'am, you was enough bashment though. Ma'am, you look enough bashment though. It was about how I dressed. It was about my energy.
No, that was just told. When I look at you, that's what you see.
Yeah. Listen, I would even go
No, I'm being serious. The last thing she hears, she feels always pretty. She always dressed nice. That just she.
My son's friends would say,
I just feel like a part. But when I hear bashment, I just think party vibe.
It was nothing negative. It was nothing negative.
But watch it now, right? Like I totally understand where Fabian came from, you know. Like, they saying that deep in we, you know. So don't think it's only Fabian, you know.
Yeah.
They saying deep in we soul, especially black people, you know. Like, I remember, like, Brandy, I had these conversations a lot. I used to hear on the radio, Mama, I just killed a man. Put my gun against his head. Put the trigger, now he's dead. Mama,
Not seen as a violent
got to go. No, because it feel European and North American.
Yes.
If I say, you, mommy, I can kill this man,
Yes.
we can hate it because it's in Bajan dialect. It feel black, it feel like we. But when we sing that sweet, you can ask Fabian that said me if he ever complained for that playing for your radio.
And probably nobody did.
No, only me. No, like, being real, because to me, I just see wrong as wrong.
It doesn't matter.
You understand that? My part, I see wrong as wrong. So ask him. You can ask anyone. So much things that we hear playing on radio that would say I would never even sing that. So it's just that the beat is ours. Because we hear so much mellow songs and country and western songs that we love. And I never want all them things that we love and sing that are so
violent themes.
Listen, and you know it better than you all are way more articulate and more learned, so you all can explain it better. But there's so much songs that are so sweet, that are so devastating, and we love them. You know what I mean? And I even bet you that way just sing to him that song, he never even think of that song as violent to chastise it.
You brought another
and that's a song that should
perspective
never
to
play.
that.
That's a song that should never play on Bajan radio. And we all know, if we admit, everyone listening, that if that song, and they can say this again, if those exact lyrics was in dialect, was in Bajan dialect, Fabian, you would burn fat on that song.
But you know what people would also say? They would say that art is just mimicking life. It is just showing you the things that happen in society, and we would make an excuse for that song, but we ain't gonna want to make an excuse for another type of song.
Right,
we're gonna make a little detour here.
And I think one of the band members has a point to make on this thing. Or my brother, my bass man David, musician extraordinaire, would love to hear your perspective on this, David.
For sure.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Sure.
Manners, buddy.
Yeah. I sit and I hear, everyone talking about the whole concept of lyrics, and lyrics do carry a heavy weight when it comes to the influence of persons, listening to the music and stuff. It's basically like a chicken egg situation, because in most instances the lyrics are a direct representation of what's happening in society, and then obviously in some instances it does influence society, which basically goes to the points that were being raised by the panel. I would also want to bring to the fore the whole concept of Afrobeat.
Okay.
When you look at, in most instances, the uptake and how our society has embraced that of Afrobeats, where it comes that, in most instances, we don't even know what they're singing. But it's just the infectious rhythm that basically, it speaks to we as black people, basically. And we've embraced that culture to the point where even one of our headline acts for Crop Over this year is from the Afrobeat genre. So how do we speak to that? I think that's another area that we should touch, as opposed to just looking at the lyrics. What does the rhythm do to you? But everyone would have basically mentioned the fact that after you hear the rhythm, then in most instances, then you listen to the words. In some instances, persons don't even know the words. Persons just use here is a popular saying across the young people. I just like the beat. I don't even know what they're singing. I just like the beat. So how do you treat to that? Because here it is in one instance, as you said, you draw between Lieutenant Stitchie and Vibes Cartel. How do you determine who do I dance to? Who do I shape? Who do I clap my hands to? Who do I get up on the ground with, basically? What determines that?
And another thing about sorry.
I was just going to say, could answer that from a spiritual perspective.
Go ahead.
Nice.
And we talk, in Christian circles about the spirit of the music. And Lieutenant Stitchie's music and DJ Nicholas's music, it has a particular spirit to it.
Right.
So, I have danced to Stitchie's War. I've danced to War, And the idea of it is that, you're going up there and you're warring against all the evil in the society, you're warring against the devil, you're warring, that's the idea behind it. So it doesn't draw itself to you doing anything vulgar, even though you're dancing. You're engaging in a different type of warfare.
Right.
So I'm just saying that while I do take what you're saying, that music does drive your mood and how you're going to respond with your body, I think it is a delicate area where you can't totally divorce it from the lyrics and the spirit that is being pushed by whoever is performing it.
Correct.
Their energy, if you don't understand the word spirit.
So there's another take to that, and I'll basically put this out here, and he's very synonymous with doing. I would speak to that of the very talented DJ Puffy. DJ Puffy will take you on a musical journey any single time you listen to him play.
Everything.
And he, with his talent, can mix any genre and cause any crowd to basically react to how he wants them to react.
Okay.
So I say that to say
Any
that
genre, that's a fact.
it's amazing what he does with music, and to be able to he could take Bashment Soca and mix it with gospel. Or not, I can't say gospel, but say for instance Bashment Soca and rock. Mix the two of them together and basically send a crowd in a frenzy, which to me obviously speaks a lot to psychology as well.
The power of music.
Right? So reality, I think is a very good discussion. Don't get me wrong. And everyone has some very, very salient points, but it's a very thin line. And I would end by saying that we as the generation now have the ability to change how the perception of Bashment Soca.
Correct.
And we are starting with the youth, which is the right way, because they are the next generation.
Excellent.
That's
We go to
So we're going to go to a break and we'll be right back with something really, really interesting. And we are back and Stefan and the band, they're going to be doing something really interesting. And we're going to be seeing something about the musicality of this whole discussion when we're looking at bashment.
Right. So, Sluggy raised an interesting point there as well about, and it ties into what David was saying too, as a follow-on, in terms of context and music. And you learn to decipher and read and do certain things and perform certain actions determined by space and convention and that kind of stuff. And he used an example of a violent lyric in a space or where you won't expect it, where people won't expect that lyric to come via that musical media, right? Via that vehicle or that slow song, man might just kill a man or whatever. So I want to know, we take the same lyrics, like I want to change it, and we will recognize people who are accustomed hearing bashment music, for example, that they will start to interpret that lyric now in a different way because of the context, because of the convention, because of the tradition they're accustomed hearing that kind of music in, right? So I'm going to take now the basic elements of what we call bashment now, which is the one note bass line. So David, right? And then add the one note chord on that one note bass line, right? So that's the basic elements. And then we have my man Steve now drumming, right? So we have this. Right. So that's like, you know where the saying said, a man might just kill a man, put a gun against his head, put a trigger on his dead. That's like you would say, no, mama, I bust two shots in the head, pull the trigger, no, the man dead, right?
Which is the same thing.
Which is the same thing, right? In Bajan dialect, no. So original when man laughing, because I got a different context now, right? So you get rhythm. 1, 2, 3, Mama, no, the man dead. Get 2 shots and bust his head. Mama, no, the man dead. I bust out 2 shots and I know he's dead.
Mama, no, the man dead. I lick out 2 shots and I bust off his head. Mama, no, the man dead. I lick out 2 shots and I bust off his head.
Right. Different context altogether. Same
if
lyric.
he's happy though. It's okay if he's happy that he should be.
Yeah, because the chorus structure suggests that.
Right. And just that, and we just took the same lyric and put it on in a different context. No, I know people reading it different.
That's right.
Right. If you had to release that one first, that would cause controversy.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same lyric, but now we've taken the vehicle and it has a whole set of meanings. So not only is music by itself, music has a lot of other meanings that comes with it, depending on what space you're in.
Very good point.
That's a good point.
That's so well. You know, it was a great example as to how the mood can be changed and affected by the rhythm, right? Even though you are singing something that is very similar to what would have been sung in a different type of, you know, music.
Yeah. And like you said, like you touched on earlier, is a reason. That is for a reason, and we can literally pinpoint where it comes from. It wasn't that long ago when we weren't allowed to do this, you know. That wasn't that long ago, and in Barbados too. And it's things we don't speak about, you know, like gathering, playing music, performing our music, our way. That was not allowed. They had a time where on Sundays they would stop that from happening. So it deeply rooted within us. It's something that we can't get away from. And then I was privileged to have a conversation with Dr. John Hunt as well on a radio program I was doing, and he was showing me some of the history and origins behind dance, bro. And then the reason why we now perceive certain dances as way we perceive them, because all that was because of a specific reason that was ingrained in us, that was taught to us, and it is not the truth. You know, a lot of the dances they vulgar. Like when they, like for me now, we're having a conversation on radio 92.9, and the show is up online that anybody could go and watch. You understand? It was very enlightening. Dr. John Hunt made me look at life so much different from one conversation, Randy. Like, certain people will see walking up and don't see anything vulgar because I used to feel weird. Because when they see walking up, they don't see anything vulgar. And then he used to explain to me,
It's
like,
about
certain,
perspective.
right, and then certain fertility rituals and
Yes.
so on.
Correct.
Most of the time, it wasn't even whatless. Sometimes when children walk up, they don't even mean whatless.
Yeah.
No.
Sometimes we would be in church, bro, and you will notice, and men be playing songs, and people be singing and walking up, and that may mean nothing sexual. You know, so it's just what we, it's just a matter of what we put through it.
It's about culture, and that makes me think about something too, like martial arts. You have
can't think that way
persons
about ourselves,
doing katas there, we can speak that they don't know where that comes from in a spiritual sense. Some of those katas affect your fertility, right? Because they're actual Chinese dance moves for different cultural reasons, right? So a lot of things that we do and we think is cool because it's martial arts and it's karate and whatever, you know, you're affecting your spirituality. Again, with bashment soca and our African movement, our African rhythm, it is a part of our culture. It's something that is natural. But some of it we associate with sexual movement, as you say, gyrating, but is walking up necessarily rude and crude?
But I don't think we're talking about walking up.
Right.
I think
It's
we're
a
talking more about
harsh
things that
gyration.
look more like just flat out simulated sex,
Exactly.
you know, that type of thing, as opposed to just walking
the thing
up,
about it
just
is that
the rotation of the...
a lot of what you've been saying, I think that one of the main issues is that we as a people don't know our history. And I understand that is where dance and music, and that's the foundation for a lot of what we do. But we don't know it. I mean, I remember my time at school, with the Aztecs and Incas and Mayas and Arawaks, and you know what I mean? There's a large component of my Black history that I am totally ignorant about. And part of that ignorance contributes to my ignorance when it comes to dance and music. And you have to be honest with self to really see where the issues are. If we're supposed to grow as a people, we have to be aware of where the issues are. And that is where we start. By education. After our initial conversation, Randy, I had a different perspective, because Randy then educated me in such a way like, oh, okay, this makes sense now. I see music and how we interpret it due to our individuality, due to our own values and morals and the way we analyze and the way we view the world.
That's right.
You understand? And this is where the real genuineness coming out now really from me. I understand that me and Sluggy can listen to the same song and react so different to it because of our perception of the world and how we interpret that particular circumstance.
And I think we have to respect that people will have their individual preferences and people will have their, individual perspectives based on their own experiences, etc. And I think we have to respect that. But at the same time, we still have a responsibility to educate people as much as we can. We might not win them over to our side. They may not necessarily see it the way that we're seeing it. But at the end of the day, a lot of what we are sharing and a lot of in terms of different perspectives, a lot of it is also still very subjective. Yeah. Because one individual can hear a particular song and respond to it entirely differently to another individual, even though music does have the power to influence our movement and the type of movements that we give.
I want to throw a question out there.
So it's a both and.
I was asked this question this morning. I can't say on which forum yet, but I want to ask this question to the panel. If the authorities at B decide, no, we're not having it, those children are not singing bashment soca in this competition, what message are we sending to the children? What message are we sending to society? I have my own answer, but I would like to hear the panel's
If the authorities said no, they're not singing it?
Yeah, this is not happening. We are not allowing this.
What message would that
What message is that sending to the children and to society?
What message is it sending?
Depends on the message you want to hear.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
What are we telling our children?
It's not definitive about the message, but the fact they are encouraging it, I do not know the thought processes. You'll need someone here from the decision-making powers. But the message it does send, I could say what I think it does send. It sends a message that we are comfortable with our Barbadian dialect, and we're comfortable with our Barbadian dialect in multiple spaces, not only on the street, but also on the performance stage by young people. That's the message it sends to me. And we see this as a form of art worthy of being critiqued on an artistic level. And that's a huge leap from where, like he said, where we were 100 years ago, to see Barbadian dialect on stage perform. That was a huge leap for Barbados as a general story.
Do you remember when rhythm poetry started way back with Winston Farrell and so on, and it was still treated very much as a fringe thing? I remember way before Adrian Green taking a spoken word piece to NIFCA and not being allowed to move through because they couldn't judge it because I was standing up performing as you do spoken word. And they were judging me with drama and theater, which required me to move about on the stage. You know, it wasn't accepted then, but now we have spoken word as an element in NIFCA and it has its own rules. You understand, which are distinctly different from the theater. So I'm saying that we have to evolve. We have to understand that art is dynamic. I'm not saying we have to embrace and rubber stamp everything. We do have to have these sessions where we do interrogate what we are putting out there, what we are exposing our children to. We have to continue to bring that level of intelligence to it, but we still have to be open to the evolution of art and to the fact that artists themselves, you know, no artist wants to get stuck in a rut. And you might start out singing a particular genre, you might start out writing in a particular form, and then you find you want to experiment. I write poetry and I tend to write a particular type of poetry, but I started to experiment recently with writing Bajan poetry and using the Bajan vernacular and the dialect, which is a different style of poetry, which I still appreciate as well. So we don't have to get stuck in the rut and think we can only be one type of artist. We don't want to send that message to our children. We want them to embrace what is Bajan, what it means to be Barbadian, and what it means to own the things that we create and craft them and shape them and make them into something good and palatable for the rest of the world.
That's the message I think it's being sent.
And
it's an important message now.
Like for real, like I spoke earlier about Dr. John Hunt and how he changed my mind on dance me. I've spoken lately to Von Tatum. I think is the name. He's
He's an artist.
Right, he's a PhD candidate in linguistics, right? And I was saying Bajan dialect on the radio, and he tell me that there ain't nothing in so like real talk, and it's Bajan language. He said if you want to be technical, English is a dialect too, and then it's got different types of English. And was internationally accepted. He said as if we in our homeland use a form of communication, and we speaking, and David and I can speak and communicate and understand each other, and the message is transferred, you know, and understood, then that's a language. You know what I mean?
Effective communication in a sense.
Right. Obviously, all guys can be more articulate, but I saying, not being really saying that way, understand it. So then he changed my mind from how I already love, you know, I already love that, but then there's a person that's studying this at the highest level. You understand? Hair stamping, what you always feel inside of me, just that he's able to explain it better. Because he's always told these things. I never felt that me speaking what people call Bajan dialect was anything inferior to. I never felt like bashment is some subgenre to the great R&B or jazz or melancholy. That was just never my thinking, but I also understand that that's so deep in us, you know what I mean?
And we don't recognize it.
Nah, you know what I mean? And I'd be sorry that I recognize it. Like I would tell you this all the time. I would tell my close friends this. I'd be so sorry that I recognize these things, feel these things. I wish that I could hear bashment and don't feel real good, because I understand most of society will hear jazz as a music that more superior, and we will find reasons why to state why it is. Don't care what the lyrics say. And
there's so much sexual themes. There's so many sexual themes behind jazz.
We ever want to go there, and I'm sure it's like Stefan could speak to it much. Listen to me. I'm so thankful for all my teachers, right? Lynchfield nurse. What it was in the Royal Barbados Police Force Band, Police Service, Randy. He was speaking about classical music, bro. And he was pulling up text, not just shooting blind, pulling up text. And a lot of these songs, like they Flautimos and certain songs that we used to play in church. Lynchfield nurse told aunts at church that if they know like what we were playing, what they were asking for. And then he told some of them the meanings behind some of the classical songs. And these songs that Christians and
Yeah.
pastors will
Right.
feel good playing
Right.
and will never
Will
care
never
what it
know.
means.
Yeah.
In 2022, much pastors didn't care what classical song really means. It's song European and sweet, so play in
It's
church.
classical music, so it has to be
Even
good.
songs that we
Yes.
sing as gospel songs that are not gospel songs.
Yes, yeah.
It's true.
But I still trying to because again the comics coming in on my forward, and some people still real hype about this.
I want to shout out to the Facebook commenters.
Oh,
I want y'all to
yes. Thank you so
continue to
much.
comment. We are trying to read the comments and try to get you in on the discussion, but keep the discussion flowing in the chat because this will spark more
They can read
conversation.
out some.
Yeah,
Well, I need I will let the readers comment, right?
Go ahead.
Hey.
Go ahead.
He said me, this person said, if I was on that panel, it would be trouble. Right? He said, teach the children to sing first. Is he saying, right? Teach the children to sing first. So there's a perception then that those persons on stage singing bashment
Can't sing.
can't sing.
Right, and you know
Right?
what, you know
So
what
he's saying, teach the children to sing
right,
first.
You know what,
Let me finish with the comment.
They can continue, no? And there's another thing too, they can show because the boy listening. When we say teach people to sing, you know what we mean? Make them sound European or North American.
Yes.
Study it deep.
Yeah.
Study it deep.
Because we perceive singing
them
as
me
only
plastic
sounding a
them me the
particular way.
the country say the country ain't well. That's too Bajan.
Yeah.
That ain't good.
That's not singing.
Some North American. The country's sick. Country ain't well. Like, being real.
Suddenly the singing is real.
One would say that sound good because it don't sound Bajan.
Yeah.
Study it.
Yeah.
Study
Just
it.
because it doesn't sound
That would
Bajan,
teach some boy to sing. For most to be me, make them song as close to European or
as
North
possible.
American standard as possible. Even when we judging Calypsonians then, we would say like Adrian Clark is a far better singer than Bright Plastic Bike. We would say that.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
no, but we never argue that because Bike is not Bajan. Not Adrian ain't Bajan. Adrian is just a standard that could be closer to how a European song. You understand? It is saying deep in we Fabian. Study it.
Well, I agree with you, though. I agree with you. But that's a part that we just don't want to touch.
Nah,
we,
we don't want to.
Our history is so uncomfortable to deal with that we don't want to go back there. So we just
Can't
deal
go
with it
too black.
here and now. I think just a little bit, just to tap back a bit, you know. I mean, back to the whole children vibe. I think a lot of the concern, and this back to the same formal versus informal, because the question was put out there, so what would the NCF do, or how would they manage it? Rules and all of that. That's okay. I don't expect an established esteemed organization to include any sort of rudeness or vulgarity or encourage children to do anything of that nature, sexual. You
So
know.
what you had a problem
But-
with the
but
problem
is
with the bashment?
the informal thing, no,
structure.
this is where now I interpret that comment earlier in terms of it seeping into the informal thing. Whereas now you don't got the rules, you don't got nobody governing you, you just doing as you please, how you please, where you please, without
glad
any
you
type
said
of
that.
limitations.
I was
But
waiting for you to
do
say
these
it. Right.
rules-
Waiting for you to
No
say it.
problem.
Don't
Let
we
me get
already
there.
have, wait, let's look at our society.
Yeah.
Let's look at the negative influences in our society. Do we not have already negativity out there in society that exists outside of music and the influence of music that our children are exposed
Exactly.
to?
We do.
We do. And how do we manage that?
Parenting.
Through parenting, through talking to them, through schools, through
Education.
church, through education.
How successful
That's
are
how
we?
we have to continue
No, you
to
can't.
do
You can't
it.
say that, Fabian, because we have a lot of positive young people.
Because we can't
That is
have
true
one
too. We
set
do
of
have a lot of
rules. We
positivity.
can't have
So-
one set of rules
Yeah,
for other
but
things
how
and
you
another
mean?
set for music.
We've got two positive
That's
young
being
kids.
How
hypocritical.
successful are we? What do you mean with that?
No,
That's being
I'm not talking
hypocritical.
music.
Why
I'm
is
not
it that
talk-
we
I'm
hold
talking
a higher
socially, because
standard?
A lot of the issues that
I
we
mean-
have,
I mean
gun
so-
violence and that sort of
Why
stuff.
do
that I'm
we
talking
hold
about.
a higher standard for the arts than we do for other aspects of life?
Of life, yeah.
Where the same rules apply. We have to parent our children. We have to expose them to what is
Exactly.
good, to values and morals.
agree.
We have to teach them about God. We have to teach them about kindness.
And it can be weird,
all of
right?
those things we have to do.
Yeah, and it
I
could be.
agree.
And
In all aspects of life, including music. Not
I-
just don't just bastardize
That's what
music.
should happen.
I agree.
agree.
I agree, and it could be weird. It could be weird, right? But for me, I don't like this negative thing, right? I don't feel that. Like if we got 280,000 Barbadians, right? Let's say, for example, we got 80,000 young people. I don't see like 10,000 young people in Barbados being violent when the days come. So this notion that most of young people violent, that can't be true. Like we could literally break it down to a sense and by numbers. Like majority of young people in Barbados positive. Wanna know was 80,000 negative people.
But we have to understand that we live in a media-driven society, and the media will
Yeah.
focus on the negatives, and then they
highlight
seem
it.
larger
Right, but
than
not
life.
personally. Him,
But
he's
not that-
extremely intelligent.
Yeah,
he
but
know
not
numbers
that-
better than him.
Alright.
I finished
So-
Master at 12.
So I want to welcome Barry Wilkinson to the discussion. And we're going to get Barry in. But what I want to do, I know Dr. Walker has prepared a couple of songs for a really, really intriguing presentation on Bashment Soca, its roots, where it came from, how it has evolved. So I'm thinking we're going to go to a short ad, and we're going to go back to the band and allow Dr. Walker to expound on that a little bit more. And then we're going to get Barry in with his views. We know he has some very strong perspectives. I've been hearing you on Brass Stats, my brother. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to. Joining Fabian's team, he was on his own for the whole night. So you need to come in and help him know. All right, so we're going to go to a short break. Over to you, Ashley. And come back with the band.
Okay.
Now this one called the youth. So parents, take care of one son and one daughter. Cause them is the men and the women of tomorrow. And follow little Rick now. Me no know. Me no know. Me no know how the youth get so. Say me no know. Me no know. Me no know how the youth get so. You know the youth nowadays like the tiny idiots. Sniffing coke, eating rocks. A good friend of mine the other day surround the gap. With something in the hand they fall back with a rap. I don't know piece of chicken like a piece of chicken back. With the size of the boy, the way of the rap. Put them up till he knows I make a little slip back. So I talk of the bad direct the telegram back. I just had peace, just like that. But I make a mistake. Or when I take a stop, I take a closer look. You ain't know it.
Right, so I just played a little bit of a Lorette song from the early 90s. And that was, as I keep saying, that's basically the roots, the musical roots, the phrasing roots. Lorette is the man. Lorette set the template for that Barbadian dialect voice on top of that type of rhythm. Right? And when it started to come back in the 2000s and 10s with the crowd soldiers and with the Crime Sons, right? They were interpreting Lorette style from that period and bringing it to the younger people, bringing out a younger audience. So when it was rebranded now as Bashment Soca, it used these rhythms. It used the way Lorette approaches the beat using the Bajan dialect. So what he was singing about and what the producers at the time, Badu, wanted was the positivity in the lyric. So once again, I am just saying, and this is what I think, and what I really strongly believe, that this perspective of Bashment Soca is what is hoping to be rekindled now among the young people.
Yes.
Right? It's not saying, I personally don't have an issue with the sexuality. I think there's a space for that. But it needs another perspective, in my view, another way for young people to bring across what is on their mind using Bajan dialect, and they can use this vehicle as a way to bring it across.
Yeah.
So that is what my connection with the past to the present is. That's my presentation on that.
Excellent, Dr. Walker. And we can make a comparison to that with rap. We can think of rap music. If any of you have seen any documentaries on the history of rap music, you would know that rap music started in the streets. It was pointing out particular social issues, right? And you know, some of it might have been seen as positive and some of it seen as negative. But now we have rap music being used by all kinds of artists, including gospel and conscious rap.
Sorry, before I bring in Barry and Randy, we had a comment on
Frequency.
No, not that one, not that one. The folk song one.
Oh,
Right? And one of the if you're using the most in terms of what I've been definition of bashment, but the one you use like enjoyment, exuberance, etc. One of the bashiest and the most popular folk song in Barbados is John Belly Mama, right?
Yes.
Right? It embraces the spirit of exuberance. It has a dance stick, all of that stuff that we temper with this vulgar. I don't want now to play now John Belly Mama with a bashment rhythm, right? So we do it same about we do it F now. So right, 1, 2, 2, 2.
Mama belly swell like cassava. See this, Bessie brain grass down there. See this, Bessie brain grass down there. Come down when I tell ya, come down when your shoes and stockings come down. When your trousers and stockings come down. When your shoes and stockings come down. Come down when I tell ya, come down when your trousers and stockings. I bet you do this knocking. I bet you do.
You see?
Right.
No, that rhythm,
Make
that
it interesting.
Bajan dialect, everything. You see, Mama, you good? Mama feeling that, bro? Mama feeling that, right? It just goes seamlessly together, and the tradition goes way back. Maybe we people before that had that same exuberance and things when they sing that song too. You know how many children sing that? You know that boy back school too.
But it sounds as what we did at the stadium as well. You know, with
Exactly.
drumming, it has that same kind of feel. The drumming at sports.
I want to bring an example where I saw Ian Webster when he was teaching at Springer use a bashment soca rhythm, and he wrote a song to allow the children to understand the different beats in music.
Oh yes,
Right?
yes.
We're going to come to that. Mark, I'll put it in the folder for you to put it up as an example, but that is something we can look at. We then went and did a seminar at the Wilkie Combat School, and we used Mole's song, Take the Lovin' and Breathe, and Ian rewrote that song to check the book and read. I can't remember the exact lyric, but I have that excerpt as well to show, you know, so you can use positive lyrics. I have someone here on the Facebook who's saying that we not only need to have good parenting, I think this is Gail Hunt, they need positive mentors who they can emulate, not just learn from parents and teachers. The reason why is some children can be influenced by subcultures as part of trying to find themselves. Music is a great way to build confidence, but you must not just be entertainment, but also be beneficial to their growth.
Yeah.
So this is where we come in now as educators, as mentors, as social commentators in a sense as well, helping children understand that they can use music, movement in a positive way, right, for enlightenment, and for also engaging their peers. And that is where I think the NCF may be going with this particular move. And I know I can get Barry here in on this one also. That's why it's skewed to that side, right? I think Red Plastic, but I don't want to misquote, has said before that Calypso is kind of moving away. I think he did say dying genre. I may be misquoting him there. And he said we need to evolve the music so that we capture the young people. And if young people are in tune to this bashment rhythm, they're also in tune to the Zess rhythm. A lot of people saying Father Phil is singing bashment, he's singing bashment, he's singing Zess rhythm, right? Zess rhythm with a Bajan dialect on top of it, right? So if the NCF is using the bashment soca rhythm in the clinical sense, not the culture, not the bashment culture, but they're using bashment soca genre to capture the ears of young people and allowing our junior monarch contestants to sing social commentary lyrics on top of it. That is something we have to think about. And I believe that competition is going to, or that segment of the competition is going to challenge the guys who are mainstreaming it to see different ways to write.
That's right.
It comes down to the writers, content the writers will write, how creative they will be. And we've always challenged writers to be creative. We need to have imagery in the lyrics. We need to have melodic structure that captures you, right? So at this time, I want to throw it to Barry. Let Barry get in on the conversation. Thank you for joining us. We know you were at class before, so you were very well excused. And we hand over to you now at this time. Master Barry Wilkinson.
Well, hi, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for putting this on. It seems to be a very enlightening conversation, although I missed most of it, so I'm not quite sure where the conversation is at the moment.
But you can share your opinion. I know you had your own opinion on it, your perspective, and then we'll go from there. That's not a problem, my brother.
Well, to be quite honest, we have to still give the competition a chance to see where it will go, how it will evolve, and what the young people who are entrusted into the category will do. The thing I had about it is that I personally would not have named a competition for juniors bashment soca because of what the word bashment entails or what the connotation it has. I mean, we can all find words to properly explain it and words to properly say what it means. Yesterday, somebody tried to tell me that when you say condolences, that you're actually saying that you're sorry for something and not expressing grief for death. So words can indeed have meaning, but we know what the connotations of the words are. And I think if the NCF was so bent on doing something positive, on changing up a competition, I perhaps would not have used the word bashment, even though it, as you guys said, it details a certain beat or a certain rhythm in a song. It was only last year that the Prime Minister of this country was on television speaking against some well-known persons in society who are ambassadors, who are looked up highly upon. And she was, saying that what they put out was not acceptable. Did the media bring forward that? No. It was not in CBC. It was not in Starcom. It was not certainly in the Nation newspaper. It was on YouTube. So who are we to believe that when these youngsters have a free reign now at bashment soca, while they might not go into competition with some lyrics, they might get very creative and go on the same YouTube channels and so on and expose themselves and further denigrate what we're seeing in schools. We're seeing some very unhappy young people in schools. Does the Nation, the CBC broadcast that? Does CBC go and shoot and film that? No, they're filmed by cell phones because everyone now has a cell phone and everyone now is filming each other to see exactly how bashy and trashy you can get. So when there's a bashment soca model now, which is kind of like medicinal marijuana, where you have legal marijuana and you have illegal marijuana, bashment soca could very well become the same thing. You're going to have people who are going to be doing it on the side and doing their version of it to expose on YouTube. And that would probably get more views, that would get more thoughts than the actual competition that the NCF is promoting. So that is what I'm scared about. I'm scared about the word bashment being used because it's not going to be used in the right connotation for some, and some will not be very responsible with it.
Barry, I have a seat here in the studio for you. It's here, you're not seeing it, but I need you here next to me.
But
I'm right there with you.
But Barry, you mean the sexual content? Because I heard Barry spoke about what the Prime Minister speak about.
She was speaking about the violence.
Right, but she was speaking about the gun violence in the music.
And that was
Exactly.
Right, but
exactly. So I'm saying that certain music and certain connotations are going to bring about that kind of lyrics and kind of behavior. So I'm not knocking bashment soca. I'm saying that when you talk about bashment soca in juniors, you're going to have people who are going to do underground things that are not going to be part and parcel of the competition, but they're going to do it because they feel now they have full reins to do something that is called bashment junior soca. So that is what I'm talking about. So you hit the nail on the head as to where I'm going.
That seems illogical to me because what is stopping them from doing it right now? What is stopping them from taking out their phones and creating something violent or something inappropriate? What is stopping students, young people, from doing that right now because there's no competition? That argument doesn't hold water, Barry. It is illogical because nothing is stopping them from doing it right now.
It's not illogical because they now have a license to do it. In other words, they might feel this is bashment soca, this is a competition, but because the NCF is going to be guarding and guiding these lyrics, therefore I don't have to enter their competition, but we can have our own outside competition. And I know that there are youngsters who are going to do that.
Let me clarify you, right? Let me clarify. It is the Junior Calypso Monarch, and they have allowed the bashment genre.
They don't have to choose
no junior bashment monarch.
There's no junior bashment monarch.
So what has happened, this was happening for a long time. Stefan can be a writer, Sluggy's a writer. So he could have written a social commentary for that child, brought it to the studio for me to produce, and say, look, Randy, I don't want this to be an 80 BPM song. I want this to be a 130. And they put that snooker pattern behind it, right? And that evokes the same kind of rhythmic gyration or whatever, right? I could arrange the music with the same bashment soca strum that we are accustomed to, right? What the NCF is doing is just highlighting the genre, but it's something that could have been done before. Yeah. You may very well hear bashment soca with a bar chorus like a prana, as we call it, right? We don't know what level of creativity will come out of it. And we
Yeah,
are
and that's why I
knocking-
said, Randy, that's why I said I'm waiting to see what really comes of it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that I'm just afraid that it could very well go down the wrong lane. That's what I'm strictly afraid of.
Yeah, and I share that concern too. And for me, you know, I am willing to give it some time to see how the whole concept with the children in terms of the evolution of the music and to see how it is treated from what you guys, I mean, the words that you were using earlier, in the formal setting. What Barry is referring to is what we were talking about as the informal side, and that's where my concern equally was, you know. But I guess we need to probably give it some time and to see how it is treated.
So my question for Barry, I got a question for Barry. How do we fix it?
We didn't get there yet. I got a question.
How do we fix it? Well, we have to wait to see what the NCF does.
No, I mean,
But
you are saying, I understand the issues that you have with the basketball and soccer, so I going on the issues you have. I'm asking you, how do we fix it? Isn't this the way to fix it? Like, if
Why
I'm
would-
saying,
I would
I'm
think that's
asking,
the way to fix it.
or I'm telling you, I'm asking you, right, let's say I agree with you. Basketball and soccer is vulgar. I don't believe children should be doing it. Let's say I agree with you. I'm asking you now, isn't this the best way to fix it?
But if it's the best way to fix it, if the NCF going to have a rubric and proper guidelines to doing so. But don't forget, what I'm telling you is that I'm not scared of what the NCF is going to do. I'm afraid of what is going to happen on the ground. That's what I'm afraid of.
That ain't true. We are not. We don't like the bashment. We ain't because nothing is stopping the children from doing it now. And right now, like a lot of the times is be lonely out here speaking out about these things. So I know for a fact that's not the issue we have. That's the issue, and nobody in Barbados can come and tell me, Sluggy, that's the issue because of, I can say this again, I say this anywhere proudly. It does be lonely out here fighting the issues. So them are the issues.
I think we have to give our young
Bashment is the
people,
issue.
we have to give our young people more credit as well. And I think that we have to understand how young people develop. In every era of time, as it were, through the decades, there have always been the traditions and there have always been aberrations into new things. Rock music, even calypso music, I guess in its heyday, soca party music. There will always be shifts and changes from one thing that is popular into something else because then it becomes old to the younger generation. So a bashment will become old. It will, and something else will emerge. That is the nature of life. It's the nature of culture. It's the dynamism that is in there. We can't run scared.
Let me ask you this question.
We can't. Let me finish. We can't run scared and try to keep things in a box because we think we have to help our children to become thinkers, where they can differentiate between right and wrong, where we can model what is best for them. They will make their own choices, they will make mistakes, but young people will always want to experiment. They will do it all the time.
Definitely.
And I agree with that. I have no difficulty with that. But I asked you this question. Do you think a lot of young people smoke marijuana?
Yes.
Okay. What will happen when it becomes legal?
Good. Great. Awesome.
You might be surprised. It may lose some of the edge.
If it
because
becomes-
if it's no longer,
Well, how do
listen,
you
if
know
it
that?
is no longer, if it is no longer, this is a
Alcohol
controversial
legal?
view, and I'm not saying that
Alcohol
I am
legal?
promoting the use of marijuana.
Not
What I'm
among
saying
young
is
people.
when it is no longer something that is against the law, it will lose some of the excitement.
Right,
Right?
but-
It will lose some of the excitement.
I will wait to see that.
That's my
I will wait
personal
to see
view.
that.
Our musician
Okay,
has
I
a
will wait
point
to
to
see
make
that.
on this one. Go ahead, David.
Hi, Barry. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Just to basically counter or be devil's advocate to the question that you just asked regarding marijuana. In Barbados in 2019, 2018, if you had told persons that everyone could walk around in masks, what would you have said?
That they
nothing
could
of
walk
what-
around in mask or they had to walk around in mask. There's a difference.
So basically, persons were walking around. If somebody had approached you in a ski mask in 2018, what would be your perception of that person? That they wanted to rob you, correct? That they were up to something evil, and that you would
Yes.
fear for
Yeah.
right for your life. If somebody walks up to you now in a ski mask, What is your perception
You
of?
think much that normal?
No, as somebody walks into me, the ski mask, I'll be very still skeptical. If they walk up to me in a mask that is a K95, then it wouldn't be. So if somebody still walks up to me in a
Persons
ski
walk
mask,
past you with ski masks and various different types of
I,
garments over
to be
the
quite
face
honest,
every
to be quite
single
honest,
day.
no, but to be quite honest and to be very, I'm not being facetious. I don't see people in ski masks in Barbados. I see people wearing normal masks. But I'm saying that the mask has become the mask has become mandatory. So there's a difference. There's a major difference.
Nobody don't tell me not is risky mask and people don't look at me in a way.
Now hold on. I'm just saying to David, mask is mandatory. Mask is mandatory. Mask was not optional.
No, bro. You mean
Right, so-
perception.
It's just different.
Perception. I'm not talking about whether or not it's mandatory. I'm just talking about the perception, because obviously we have basically normalized the whole process of wearing masks, and the appearance obviously has changed.
Yes.
Case in point, I could even go to the scenario of you getting on a plane and seeing persons of a certain religion on the plane. Your level of comfort would change based upon scenarios that you've been exposed to. I don't think I need to go into the details,
Facts.
but certainly if
Facts.
you get on a plane and you see certain persons of a certain religion,
It's tingle.
okay,
Yeah.
so that's all I'm saying as it relates to that of marijuana. I do take Sluggy's point in that I do believe that our society is such that we can think for ourselves, right? And as Sluggy said, we don't have 80,000 negative young people out there. Certainly not.
And they always say in Barbados how negative young people are. And they ask Bajans, if we have 80,000 Barbadian youth, if 10,000 are negative, that is still not the majority.
Yeah.
But somehow we just paint this picture that in Barbados, majority of young people are negative. And that is so far from the truth. Minority, and I mean it is an extremely small number. That does not mean.
But Sluggy, in
that doesn't mean that
everything-
we should look at the seriousness of it.
But I mean, you mentioned this earlier, but nearly in everything that we do, negativity does this thing to dominate.
Right, but
don't care how small it may seem.
No,
you understand? You know the God saying, right?
That's how
One
life is.
apple, one bag,
Yes.
apple, the spoil the
Spoil
whole
it, yeah,
batch.
that-
No, I
So
don't
you can go
agree with
100
that either.
apples
I
and
don't
one
agree with that
bag.
either.
So
Hold
I'm
on.
saying-
David, I want to ask Lucky one question.
That's not true. These things that we
In the
repeat because old people repeat and that ain't true. What about apple don't spoil in the bunch? That's not
hold
true.
on.
Listen, you can get
Sluggy,
one person
Sluggy,
influence the
ask me this
others.
question. When you go to the United States, right?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
fear for your life?
Yeah.
You fear for your life when you go to the States?
Yeah.
Right. But do you
If-
know
if-
that
if-
the States
if-
they've only had 10 killings in the whole year. So 10 killings among what? 70 million people is not too bad. What do you fear?
You see who had 10 killings for the whole year?
I'm talking about like shootings with children and that kind of thing.
In America?
Yeah, I'm talking about mass killings. So they've only had about 10 or 15
10 instances of mass
You
instances.
that ain't nothing to do with Chicago media. That ain't nothing to do with Chicago, then Chicago in Guadeloupe.
Nah, he ignored that fact.
You ignore. In Chicago, there's
That
got
was
more 10
Chicago.
killings a day.
No, I'm talking about mass killings at
So
schools
it's only
and
a
that kind
mass
of thing.
killing, it's only mass
But I
killing.
mentioned earlier that the media has a lot to do with that because
Come on,
the media
man.
will focus on the negative things, so they'll seem
Today in
larger than
Chicago,
life.
more than 10 people died, and Chicago in America.
Yeah.
There's got mass killings in America all the time. America will choose to show. Like, I got a family in America that will call me and think about mass killings that we will never hear on the news doing.
They got a lot that don't be publicized.
They got a special.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
they
that the
got a special
percentage
here
is
for
small.
America.
The
That's wrong
percentage
not
is
to use.
small in comparison to overall. So it nullifies
Point
your
he's
argument.
making is what?
The point I'm making is that
let
her
me
argument
bring
is
back to the
nullified
bashment
by
soca and the
Yes.
relevance.
Yeah,
Right? I want to bring it back to the
we're-
relevance to the
we're
bashment
drifting
soca.
here.
negatives among 80,000.
Right. Let me bring it back to the bashment soca and its relevance and how we move forward from
How
here
can we
as
move forward?
as a
That's
genre.
right.
What are the next steps? Because I think education is key. We need to educate the public about the difference, as I spoke in the beginning about the informal culture, which is bashment culture, and then speaking to bashment soca as a genre, right? We got a band here, and I just wanna demonstrate a couple of things in terms of calypso and its subgenres and how it has evolved, right? I will call the rhythm, David. I will leave the bass line to you. You're very creative. You can go with that. So calypso, we have various subgenres, and one of the first ones I want to identify would be kaiso. Stefan can jump at any point if I forget one. So kaiso, like around 76. Yeah. Cool. So that's Kaiso, right? You have, all right, Calypso, which can have different permutations in terms of rhythm. You can have the standard pop, 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 pop. You can play that one, Steve. Right, okay. Then you can have that same Calypso with
soca.
Yeah, well, I could get a soca too, right?
Early soca.
Right, early soca, right? But it's a Calypso song because you have commentary on top of it, right?
Right.
You can have a permutation of tuk, which is the one we spoke to before. So
But as we talking about transitions, Rich, a good point Ronnie's making there, right? Is that what the beat he called Calypso, that was originally soca. And man used to do bad, everything here that beat late 1970s.
I run all through the stadium.
In social comment, not do bad as in jump around, talking about be
Criticize.
very upset.
Criticize.
Right?
Yeah, because you can't play rhythm behind certain Calypso, man, at that time, you know.
Correct.
Right? And that's the
That was
point
too
that
forward.
that's the point the panel trying to make, right? Is that what things you find offensive today, right?
They will change.
Right, they will change.
They will change.
Because that beat and calling it Calypso.
You can't play that in certain
I'm like,
churches too.
Rod, you foolish?
Yeah, you can't play that in certain churches.
That soca beat,
Yeah.
don't bring that book here.
Correct. Right,
Yeah?
but again,
and the
it's
same
not-
man would be like, soca, the when soca first come out was controversial too, you know?
Correct.
What Rod Shorty doing,
remember.
man, he bringing all this music here, mashing up. They be want back the old clips, so all the young people know girl foolish behind this soca thing, soca. I know they're like, oh, tunes, oh, Baron, oh, God, oh, he sweet though, right?
Yeah.
So it will change, and that's what Denise was saying earlier. So I will be an old man, and I'll be like, bring back the bashment,
Yeah. That's a good point.
right? Bring back
that's
the
good.
They want something else, you will be something else then?
I can't take this here.
You will be
listen
something
to
else
this
then?
here.
You say bring back the
So
bashment.
I do this demonstration to show now how we move through and
Correct.
transition,
Keep
right?
going,
The bass line is going to
sorry,
change,
sorry.
right? But we're going to keep that same Calypso soca thing. Give me the one with the permutation of tuk. So pop. All right. Old school. Right, good. So, tuk rhythm now will be 3 of those snare patterns at the beginning. Pop, 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 pick it up, right? And it's tuk. Give me old school, David. Same vibe. I was taught by this young man at BCC as well. We get to know power soca, right?
Watch what you know,
Power
right?
soca, right?
Watch what you know, right? Right. We that play there. When they hear that was called bashment soca.
Hold on, you get there. You wait, hold
No,
on.
it been real.
Don't preempt me, man.
You know, the first bashment, it's like,
No,
But watch the difference. You're gonna see what the difference is
That
gonna be.
always
You know,
got
it
back
is,
to
right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna do power soca, right? And then we're gonna take it back.
Competition
So
stand up.
160 kind of tempo, modern David, right? So remember all those beats. We're gonna do a bashment soca rhythm now. You remember what happened with the ad? The rhythm that was playing with the ad? Right. Yeah. Throw it in C. Simple, right? We're gonna do a bashment soca rhythm now. First soca rhythm that you played. Same thing that Sluggy said, right? The only thing that's gonna change the vibe is the bass line. Go ahead. Right. I could sing Alison Haynes, Ragamuffin on top of that. I could sing
Ragamuffin, bashment soca.
it's bashment soca, right? I think Stefan even defines bashment soca too with all of we, ain't it?
No, the first bashment soca is
Hard one.
Hard wine and them, right?
Hard wine is the first that original
Yeah,
correct.
bashment soca, the original,
Yeah.
Correct.
right? Right. With that same beat and Lorraine on the Bajan dialect on top of it.
Right,
Right.
learn
That's the
Peter
first
Copy.
type. Correct, Peter Copy. Remember saying from class, man?
Yeah, learn Peter.
Yeah. Right? So that's the first one.
I
Last
was outside.
Last thing I want to do, we got a song together taking over, right? And you're gonna play. We can go follow Sluggy, right? Give me a mid-tempo soca, right? And Sluggy's gonna superimpose what we call a R&B melody over it, but it is soca, right? But the rhythm alone will start like bashment, but then when he starts to sing, perspective and context change, right? Yeah, actually. So mid-tempo kind of.
You got too much sounds here. This soca, boy, we're not stopping over. We're taking over. This soca, boy, we're not stopping over. We're taking over. Give me the rhythm pumping. Give me the bass and pumping. Give me the music pumping. Give me the rhythm pumping.
All right, stop. Good. So, same basic rhythm, right? But now Sluggy comes with that infectious melody, right? And it changes the perspective. Had he started a chant on top of it now, you would say, oh, they're singing foolishness, singing bashment, right? So that's the thing about Caribbean genres, the polyrhythms. There's so many different nuances and characteristics of it that take it through the different subgenres and make a difference, right? So I think at this stage, we need to look at the education of the public in terms of what the genre represents and the possibilities for it moving forward, and giving the youngsters a chance to create within the subgenre of bashment soca, right? And not knocking it before it starts. Obviously, if something lewd and crude happens, you know, we can't condone that because we wouldn't want children to be doing those kind of things. And I can't see it happening with the NCAA.
But here's what I want, right? I want that period. I ain't want that lewdness wrong in bashment. I want that lewdness wrong. So you know what I mean? So if I sing it sweet, and it put an R&B song, it wrong. Still, it ain't wrong because it's bashment.
I understand
and
you.
Barry wasn't here before. Barry wasn't here, but like the example that I made is like the song that we used to play up on radios in Barbados enough. Mama, I just killed a man, put my gun against his head, pull the trigger, now he's dead. That song used to play up on radio. I never hear Bajan had a problem besides Sluggy. I used to always say that should never play up on radio, but it sounds sweet, it's close to North American, you know me, that European vibe, so it is okay. Nobody got a problem with it. The same thing people will speak about, this and then to do a music again, but I used to always have this discussion with my brethren again, Randy, you know, and enough element who used to drink. I used to always say it used to be so weird that alcohol legal. How can adults in Barbados know alcohol legal and the boy got a problem with that? Want to know what's alcohol and it'd be okay? Marijuana could heal a million things, left it illegal. Alcohol, we never got to explain it, don't got to articulate what alcohol is. That ain't nothing the boy should touch. But it's okay. The only boy got a problem with alcohol is Sluggy. It cool. Alcohol can sell and advertise on the radio stations because it's making enough money. It can advertise on TVs because it's bringing millions of dollars, and all of we good with it. And if it's because of against it, no, you know, like, it be beer issues, people will actually DM me or call me in offices to meetings telling me stop bashing alcohol, bro. Or tell me, listen, things that you on, alcohol is what paying for it. People will tell me that. People will never say, Sluggy, you know what, Sluggy, you're right, you know. Alcohol in there, we should push. People never tell me that.
But I agree with you, though.
No, because we had this conversation, you know, so things that are wrong to us.
I agree.
We never, again, disagree on things that are, especially when it comes to children, because that's saying that you and they share the passion for. And like I said, the problems you have with bashment, I totally understand.
Right.
Which is problems that I can't say I have because you know what it stands for. And they got problems with many things too, but is also a solutions-oriented person.
And that's where we need to be.
So let's go there now. Where can we go? What's the way forward with respect to bashment music? With all that we've been exposed to this evening, you know, we've understood how music changes, you know, how it has evolved, and genres can evolve.
Yes.
We have to say that. We've seen it live and direct right here. What do we do now with bashment?
I'm going to hand over to Barry to let Barry answer that first, and we'll come around the panel as we wrap up. So your thoughts, Barry, on how we move forward, and I hope you will take this forward to your next Brass Start session. Right? And we can expand this conversation further and get your callers, right, to see a different perspective.
That's right.
I think, honestly, the way forward is to give it time. That's the honest truth. Let's see what the competition has to offer this year. It's the first year. I'm really happy that Crop Over is back, to tell the truth. So let's see where the competition has to offer. Let's see what the young people, where their creative minds are at. And then perhaps we can have a discussion after that to see how it has gone after the first year. That would be my solution for the way forward for the new competition and 2022 with the soca competition, the bashment soca competition. Junior competition.
I think there's a big space for education in this area, and this discussion tonight would have really started that process in a real meaningful way, because there's a lot of ignorance that exists when it comes to music and our history and the connection between music history. I know even was for, I said, dance as well, you know, because the old juke down and the walk up, people have a lot of issues with that, but I also understand that is a historical, there's a historical perspective to that as well. So we need a lot more education. We need a lot more sessions like this, a lot more engaging, practical sessions that people can tune into, people can give their feedback, and that we can connect with the people out there. And it is not above the heads of the average person, but at the level that everybody can understand.
Sluggy?
Well, I think I could say this here, because in the secret, I have the privilege, have been the ambassador for the Junior Monarch, which includes the Soca Monarch, Bashment Soca, and Calypso, and you're all people who would associate me with positive things for the youth. And if I am indeed what's the title? Ambassador?
Yes.
If I am indeed the ambassador, and unless you always be just being fake with me, you know what I mean? They don't see the issue. Unless you always be fake.
But in closing, I would want to say that I think we need to give it a chance. I will maintain again, I cannot see the NCF allowing a child to be lewd and crude on stage. I think we need to open our minds and look at bashment culture and recognize that it's in an informal context. And bashment soca as a genre is something completely different. And yes, we do have some level of association. We do have some persons in the comments mentioning that the connotation is something to be considered, because children will associate the genre with the informal culture, right? And I do take that point. But I do believe we need to give the children a chance to be creative, allow them to express themselves in a positive way, because that is what the NCF will be championing, right? They'll be asking for positive, right? Through the workshops, we're going to see a lot of things coming out. I really believe that the writers are going to really challenge some of the mainstream guys in terms of what is going to come out in terms of the writing of the songs for this competition. I want to thank the Facebook commentators, the YouTube commentators. Andre Petit, you've been asking some high science questions here, my man, going into frequencies and saying the frequencies recorded at the wrong frequencies was for K440, and it really should be 432. I showed Stefan the comment, and Stefan said he too high for me, so Andre here making some serious points, you know, bro, so we're going to have another conversation on that. I will hand over to Denise for her final comments, and thank everyone for participating. Thanks to the band as well. Mr. Steve Ward on drums. Thanks to David Haynes for his contribution on the bass, and also making a contribution to the discussion. And Dr. Stefan Walker, who had to step out. I will hand over to Denise now for her closing remarks.
I just want to thank all of you for being a part of our audience, those of you who've watched via Facebook, those of you who've watched via YouTube. We want to thank our panelists. We want to thank Fabian and Randy for this excellent idea. Sluggy, Stefan, Barry.
Good job, man. Great job.
You dropped in late, but
I got
thank
also
you so
say
much.
the Homegrown Roundtable is actually me and Sluggy's idea initially.
That's okay.
But the conversation was sparked from Fabian,
yes,
correct.
Yes.
Well,
So
he already got beat up today.
Thank all of you. I think that this has really been an interesting discussion, and as Fabian said, we need to have some more of these interactions. I think we need to give our young people some support and some credit, especially as they get involved in this competition this year, and even those who may not be involved in the competition, but they're interested in exploring the music. I think we just need to work with them. I think that we have to understand that our culture is dynamic, and it's going to change. It's not going to be just bashment now. 10 years from now, maybe even 5 years, there'll be a new genre which the older people will be frowning on, you know, and then eventually they will accept it, as has happened. We can be the older people, you know, as has been the history with respect to culture and change. So thank you so much. I think we've learned a lot. I've certainly learned a lot this evening. Yes. We have a lot to stew our juices on, and let's take this forward with a whole spirit of positivity. So thank you so much for joining us this evening, and we will see you sometime soon.